Now, some of the most legendary classic Hondas include the Honda Civic hatchback, Honda City Turbo, even the Acura Integra. But one thing that all these cars have in common, they don't really excel in whatever segment they're in. Instead, they have this certain Honda magic in them that are seemingly intangible, and I think this one is right next on that. What's going on, guys? Roy Robles here from Zigwheels.Ph, and today we rediscover Honda fun with the Honda Brio RS. Currently in its second generation and just experienced a mid-cycle refresh, the current 2024 Honda Brio RS certainly looks stunning in its own right. I mean, compared with its other rivals in the same segment, this one really stands out, especially with this stellar diamond pearl color scheme that I really appreciate, because it creates a certain sense of contrast, stark contrast, with these black accents all around. What we have right here is the black top version of the RS, which means you've got a black roof on top. I do appreciate these nice raking headlamps that sweep all the way right here to the quarter side of the front fender here, and it's connected by this chrome wing with this large oversized Honda badge. You got a nice black grille as well as an RS logo there that doesn't seem tacked on. In fact, you see some provisions around the grille to contain that RS badge, so you know that if you buy a lower variant of the Brio, you would get a different grille without that provision right there. So just sticking an RS badge right there, like most of us Honda fans would, isn't going to be enough. You know you're getting an RS variant with this one right here. I love the LED fog lamps. You got this black lower lip here, again creating a sense of contrast. A really tiny hood that really accentuates the stellar diamond pearl color scheme, and you won't find any cameras on top because this does not have any advanced driver assist systems whatsoever. Again, that's just going to add a little bit more complications to things that you don't really need. Overall, the front end of the Honda Brio RS really creates a sense of purpose, a sense of style, and sportiness that is really needed in this particular segment. You can find more of the stark contrasting details right here on the side, and you can appreciate the color scheme even more. Being the RS variant, you got a couple of cosmetic changes right here on the side. For example, they removed the chrome trim right here. By the way, before I get to anything else, you notice anything different here? It seems like they forgotten to put a little bit more of those black accents right on top of the frames of the doors, which means they understand Honda fans. Honda understands its fans. They know they're going to accessorize this with a rain guard, but as it looks right now, it seems like they could have had placed a little bit of more of this black sticker on top. But anyway, that's just me. Another difference between this RS variant with the regular V or S variant is that you get side skirts. That's right, it completes the whole look of the car thanks to those side skirts. You won't be getting that in lower variants. And a blacked out side mirror with repeater signals right there. If you notice the wheels, these are 15-inch alloy wheels. They're a bit a two-tone look, but they have a certain gunmetal tinge to it, which really adds a little bit more to the overall look. And I like how the wheels actually fits inside the wheel wells pretty nicely with just the right amount of offset. You still get a pretty respectable level of ground clearance right here. Just don't expect too much because this is not a crossover SUV because you don't have black plastic claddings all around. But yes, no, this is a hatchback through and through, but 137 millimeters of ground clearance is plenty enough to get you through any obstacle or road rush in the urban setting. I like how it still has a bee sting antenna on top. I know you guys are crazy about a shark's fin antenna, but I think a bee sting type antenna fits the entire bill of the car really well. I like how the character lines sweep all the way up from the front fender to the rear quarter window right here, creating a sense of motion despite being static. That sounds like a cliche, but it definitely works right here in the Honda Brio. Overall, this is probably one of my favorite features or sections of the Honda Brio because it creates this sense that you definitely are driving one of the most capable small hatchbacks in the country today. Now, I would have appreciated if they gave the Honda Brio RS some disc brakes right here in the back, but again, it's a small hatchback, and I'm just glad that it has some safety features which we'll be discussing about later on. Meanwhile, here right here in the back of the Honda Brio RS, it seems a little bit tame for my taste, despite the fact that you do gain this nice chunky spoiler up top. But if you guys know the first generation Honda Brio, it had this huge glass back for its tailgate. That one I really love. This one here kind of looks a little bit more subdued to me, but that's fine. You still get this nice trim at the bottom that simulates a rear diffuser right here at the bottom, and then you are able to see the exhaust port right there on the side. You do have some rear parking sensors here as well, which is nice. So you can actually it helps you with parking your car. You don't get any rear cameras, but well, you wouldn't really need it with a car this small, especially with the visibility that you have on the inside. We'll be talking about that later on. And then you got the RS badge right here, and of course an IV Tech logo. Taking a look at the lifting up the tailgate, you do get access to about 258 liters of space, which is more than enough, if you ask me, for about 2 weeks worth of groceries. And it is easy for you to put in all those things because you do have a lower than average loading floor. It could have been lower, could have been cut up a little bit lower for this one, especially when compared to its rivals in the segment, but this is just fine. At least you do have this wide door for you to put in all your stuff in it. And if you need even more space, you can actually fold this rear seat down, and gives you 851 liters of space. It doesn't fold entirely flat, but at least you have the option to put in bigger items. Underneath the floorboard, you do get your spare tire right there. It is a donut spare tire. It's not a full-size spare tire because you don't really get enough space right there in the back. Overall, the look of the Honda Brio is instant classic to me. I would have worked with a better and more aggressive looking rear end, but as it turns out, the Honda Brio is just a small car that's trying its best, and it's definitely one of the better looking small hatchbacks in the market today. But I want to see what we have on the inside. I want to see how Honda maximizes or solidifies its man maximum, machine minimum philosophy, because it is a driver and passenger's car, so let's check it out. All right, so we're inside the Honda Brio RS, and right off the bat, my first impression is that even though it looks small on the outside, it definitely looks pretty adequately large in the inside. Despite my 5'10.5" and chunky frame, I still get a lot of room for my feet here and my hips, and of course my shoulders and headroom. That's definitely the most important part of the driving experience for me. And getting the appropriate driving position here might not be the easiest because it does not have height adjustment here for the driver. It only goes forward and back, and tilts forward and back as well. So that's right. And the steering wheel is adjustable only for rake and not reach. So whatever driving position Honda wants you to have, that's what you'll be having inside the Honda Brio RS. Also, another thing that I might want to I have a little bit of a gripe over is that it does lack a dead pedal here on the left side. You do have a lot of cubby holes here. You got one here on the left side of the steering wheel. You got one here, pretty much like a holder or like a handle for the door, or a coin holder right here on the door. You got even two of those right there on the passenger side, which is nice. Two cup holders here, one bottle holder here, which is which sucks because I would have wanted this to have a center armrest, but instead you do have a large bottle holder right there, which means you also don't get any rear AC vents or USB ports for the passengers right there in the back, which is all right. I love how the dashboard is nicely sculpted, looks pretty modern, looks well thought of, and looks, of course, is of high quality. You won't see any gaps there, but it's made of hard touch plastic, so if you feel a little percussive that day, you can do so right there. Now, you do have a touchscreen infotainment system right here. It is a third-party touchscreen infotainment system. It says here from Kenwood. Again, probably a throwback from Hondas of old because it doesn't seem to be integrated quite well. Also, the screen that isn't the most high def screens here, but you still have Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. It's just that you won't find a USB port anywhere on the screen. Instead, you get the USB port right here sticking out, dangling out of the glove compartment, which is which is not ideal, to be honest. Not really not ideal, but at least the sound is decent. You get 6 speakers all around. Imagine having 6 speakers in a car this small. Again, Honda does understand its fans, its sound quality over the functionality of the screen. I just wish that the touch infotainment system features Honda's newest user interface, which is amazing. It's something that you find in the Honda HR-V, Honda City hatchback, everything else. This is not ideal, but again, this is probably just me nitpicking this thing, because it is still quite functional, and I'm glad that it's there. You do have buttons here for the AC. This is not automatic climate control. The seats are okay. They're not the most they're not the plushiest of all seats, but they do have a nice contrast to it, a red contrast. They're not made of leather. You know that you're riding the Honda Brio RS with those red contrast stitchings. And you do have some media buttons right here on the left side. No cruise control in this one, no fancy stuff. In fact, you don't even get a vanity light. Instead, you get a vanity mirror, which is one of the smaller vanity mirrors I've ever seen. Overall, it's straightforward. Again, it's all about man maximum, machine minimum for Honda. It's all about being able to be as comfortable, be as engaged in the driving as you can without having any tech that's getting in the way. And this is pretty much the epitome of all of that. So again, nothing special. I love the black accents though. This is probably the biggest win for me. You got black headliner, black trim right here on the doors, none of that beige stuff, and the gauge cluster is easy to read. This doesn't give you any much information there except for the trip meter and the fuel economy meter, but that's okay. All right, so we're heading over to the rear of the Honda Brio RS. Check and see if I fit there. This is a small hatchback after all, so let's check it out. All right, so right here on the second row seats of the Honda Brio RS, there is enough space to fit in. I am sitting behind my natural driving position. The headroom could use a little work though. I know I'm wearing a cap right now, but that shouldn't be the case. But again, it is, I have a weird body type. I got a longer torso than most, so my torso is actually longer in proportion to my legs. So you got that going. At least it has enough space. But the seats actually are pretty comfortable here. They're not as upright as some other small hatchbacks out there. They're actually thinking about the passenger here and their comfort. And I like how the outboard armrest is just in the right position for you to relax right here. The seat doesn't recline though. These seats, by the way, are only it's a single a seat right here in the back. It doesn't fold 60/40, and you don't get a center armrest with cup holders. You'd have one cup holder right there, as I've mentioned, and you're gonna have to fight with whoever is right here for that single cup holder. But anyway, you don't get USB ports. You do have 2 map pockets, so that in case you want to keep your maps right there. I wonder why we still call them map pockets, but then again, they still call it a glove box and no one has gloves. But yeah, this is fine. This is just fine. Again, it's about man maximum, machine minimum. I think this is probably one of the last few Hondas who are taking that really seriously, and I'm glad that you still have great visibility here. In fact, you got better visibility in the Honda Brio RS in the second row seats than the Honda HR-V, in my opinion, and I don't feel as claustrophobic as I thought I would be. All right, again, straightforward. Now let's go straight forward to the drive and see how that 1.2 liter 4-cylinder single overhead cam iVTEC engine works out. All right, so we're behind the wheel of the 2024 Honda Brio RS, and wow, after driving a lot of cars that are more than $1 million pesos, 1.5 million pesos, even those high performance cars, it is quite a refreshing take to be behind the wheel of something like this. I mean, under the hood, you've got a 1.2 liter 4-cylinder naturally aspirated engine that makes around 90 horses and 110 torques. And it does, there's something so visceral, there's something so raw about driving a small car with a small engine and just having so much fun as this one. It's quite an experience. All power goes to the front wheels, thanks to a continuously variable transmission, and Honda has made it their business to perfect that CVT. There's been a couple of some quirks, some niggles along the way towards that development, and I can safely say that they've pretty much already almost perfected it, and you can feel it in the Honda Brio. Mashing the throttle down this way, I've never had this much fun under 80 or 60 kilometers per hour. It's just quite that. It's just that vehicle. I remember when the Honda Civic and the Honda City used to be this fun, and now it's the Brio's turn to be that car. All right, again, let's try out the turning radius here. We're on a 4-lane street. We're on the outermost lane, 2 lanes each side. Let's try that out on full lock. Ooh, easy peasy. We're on the first lane of the other side now, and it is just quite an experience. Now, classic Honda, it really has a lot of the power right up the rev range, so you will need to, if you want to drive this as as spirited as you can, you'll have to live on above 2,500 RPM. But this is still a city car through and through, so you will still have a lot of fun, you know, at lower speeds, at lower engine speeds. So it is quite a vehicle. So for suspension, you've got 2 independent McPherson struts up front and a torsion bar rear suspension right there. Now, yes, it is still a small car with a smaller wheelbase, so when it comes to comfort, it's quite a comfortable car, especially when comparing it to its rivals, which has smaller engines and has 1 less cylinder to work with. And I appreciate that from Honda. They didn't fall into the trap of giving this a 3-cylinder. That's definitely not the Honda way. So instead they gave us quite a capable 4-cylinder to play with, and I like it. Just really noisy. It just really is quite noisy. I guess that's part of the experience? Question mark? So it does perform quite well, handles like a charm, but how's the fuel economy? Honda claims you can get 19 kilometers per liter in this bad boy, and guess what? That is exactly what I've got in the highway. I was able to get 19 kilometers per liter on the highway with 2 people inside, cargo on tow, aircon on full blast. That is just, that's amazing. In the city, even better. You still get 11 to 12 kilometers per liter in the city despite heavy traffic, despite torrential weather. It is quite a frugal car. It sips gasoline like a second wife sips tea poolside. It performs quite well, and who needs a hybrid if you can get this much fun and this much performance out of a naturally aspirated engine? Safety features include, well, you got your standard stuff. You got airbags, ABS, electronic brake force distribution, and pretty much nothing else. You don't get advanced driver assist systems anywhere. And the point is to keep the pricing down, and that's what they have right here. And despite being the top of the line RS variant, you don't even get a push start button. You don't even have a rear view camera. But why would you need a rear view camera? Visibility is great inside, and it's easy to determine your position in space. You do get a rear parking sensor, which I appreciate. But yeah, it is kind of bouncy. The suspension is a little bit stiff, but that's what I like with these kinds of cars. It won't be something that rear passengers would appreciate though, but it is what it is, and it is fun on wheels. Pricing for the Honda Brio starts at 753,000 pesos for the entry-level variant. But no manual transmission this time around. All cars get a CVT, which is quite unfortunate. But again, the CVT is just fine. But if you want to get the top of the line Honda Brio RS full fat version that we're reviewing right now, it's going to set you back, well, not that much actually. 835,000 pesos for the top of the line variant, which is quite a value considering the amount of engineering, the amount of tech, and the amount of fun that you're gonna get. And at that price point, and this type of segment, this was doing an admirable battle against the likes of the Toyota Wigo. You've got the Suzuki Celerio and the Suzuki Espresso, and a couple of other small cars in the lineup as well, but none of them can offer the kind of fun, the kind of sportiness that only a Honda can give you. And I'm already in love with this car, and I know you guys will as well. And that's my full review of the 2024 Honda Brio RS. I've got to say, I am pleasantly surprised. After driving some really expensive, performance-oriented, and even large SUVs, this has been a breath of fresh air because it seems like I'm going back to my roots, and I am appreciating how Honda has kept things really simple, straightforward, point and shoot, and I absolutely love this. But I want to know what you think. Drop me a comment in the comment section down below. Tell me what other cars that you might want to consider ahead of the Honda Brio RS. And while you're at it, subscribe to our channel and hit that notification icon so you wouldn't miss any of our videos. This has been Roy Robles from Zigwheels.Ph, and I will see you guys next time.